The casket was already in the ground when the truth came out. Nathaniel Brooks stood at his father's grave, surrounded by family, dressed in black, tears still wet on his cheeks. He had just delivered the eulogy. He had just said goodbye to the man who raised him, and now his uncle was pulling him aside, whispering something that made no sense. There's something you need to know, something your father wanted you to hear after he was gone. Nathaniel frowned. What are you talking about? His uncle pressed an envelope into his hand. It's about your son, about Sebastian. Nathaniel's blood went cold. His uncle's eyes were heavy with something that looked like grief and guilt combined. Your father found out 2 years ago. He didn't want to tell you while he was alive, but he made me promise that after he died. He trailed off. Nathaniel looked down at the envelope. His father's handwriting was on the front. For Nathaniel, when I'm gone. And standing there at the edge of his father's grave, Nathaniel opened the letter that would destroy everything he thought he knew. Let's go back. Nathaniel met his wife Isabella in 2010. He was 28, she was 25. They met at a friend's birthday party, one of those crowded apartment gatherings where you end up talking to strangers in the kitchen. Isabella was different from anyone he had ever dated. Bold, confident, a little wild. They dated for 2 years, got engaged in 2012, married in 2013. By 2014, their son Sebastian was born. Nathaniel remembered the moment he first held him, the weight of that tiny body in his arms, the overwhelming sense of purpose that flooded through him. I will protect you. I will be there for you. I will never let you down. He kept that promise for 12 years, but promises he would learn can be kept for the wrong reasons. Nathaniel's father, Thomas, was a quiet man. He didn't talk much about feelings, but his love showed in other ways. In the hours he spent teaching Nathaniel to fish, in the advice he gave before the wedding, in the way he looked at Sebastian like the boy hung the moon. Thomas adored his grandson. Every Sunday without fail, he would come over for dinner. He would play catch with Sebastian in the backyard, help him with homework, tell him stories about the old days. That boy is special, Thomas would say. Don't ever take him for granted. Nathaniel never did. But looking back now, he wondered if those words meant something different, if his father had been trying to tell him something without actually saying it, because Thomas had discovered the truth 2 years before he died, and he had carried that burden alone. The letter was 3 pages long. Nathaniel read it, standing beside his father's grave, the autumn wind pulling at the paper, his hands trembling. Dear Nathaniel, if you're reading this, I'm gone, and I'm sorry for leaving you with this. 2 years ago, I overheard something I wasn't supposed to hear. Isabella was on the phone with someone. She didn't know I was in the house. And what she said, Nathaniel, Sebastian might not be your biological son. I didn't want to believe it. So I did something I'm not proud of. I took a DNA test. I collected samples from you and Sebastian during one of our Sunday dinners. The results came back. Sebastian is not your biological child. I have included the test results in this envelope. I'm sorry, son. I didn't tell you because I was afraid of what it would do to you, to your marriage, to Sebastian. That boy loves you. You love him. But I couldn't let you live the rest of your life without knowing. Whatever you decide to do with this information, know that I love you. And know that being a father is not about blood. It's about showing up. I love you, son. Dad. Nathaniel opened the folded document behind the letter. Probability of paternity, 0.0% 0. His son, the boy he had raised for 12 years, was not his. His father had known for 2 years, had watched him play with Sebastian, celebrate birthdays, coach little league games, and had known the entire time. And he had said nothing. Nathaniel didn't know whether to be grateful or furious. He looked up from the letter. The funeral guests were dispersing. Isabella stood near the cars, holding Sebastian's hand, waiting for him. She smiled when she saw him looking. A normal smile. The smile of a woman who had no idea her secret had just been exposed. Nathaniel folded the letter and put it in his pocket. He walked toward his wife and son, his face carefully blank. Everything okay? Isabella asked. Just family stuff. Old memories. He looked down at Sebastian. 12 years old. Dark hair, dark eyes. Features that looked nothing like Nathaniel's. Features he had never questioned before. Let's go home, Nathaniel said quietly. But home would never feel the same again. That night, Nathaniel couldn't sleep. He lay in bed next to Isabella, listening to her breathe, feeling like a stranger in his own life. 12 years of believing, of loving, of sacrificing, and she had let him believe a lie the entire time. He thought about confronting her right then, waking her up, demanding answers, but something held him back. Fear, not fear of the truth. He already knew the truth. Fear of what would happen after. Fear of losing Sebastian. His father had chosen silence for 2 years. Maybe Nathaniel understood why, but silence has a price. And eventually, that price comes due. 3 weeks passed. Nathaniel went through the motions, went to work, ate dinner with his family, helped Sebastian with homework. But inside, he was falling apart. Every interaction felt poisoned. He looked at Isabella and saw a liar. He looked at Sebastian and saw a question mark. He hated himself for it. Sebastian was innocent. He hadn't asked for any of this. He loved his father with pure devotion. But was Nathaniel even his father? The DNA said no. 12 years of memories said yes, and Nathaniel was trapped between two truths that couldn't coexist. He started investigating. Quietly, carefully, he began looking for answers. He checked old phone records, looked through Isabella's emails, searched for evidence of who the biological father might be. He found nothing. Either Isabella had been incredibly careful, or the affair had been brief. He didn't know what to believe anymore. All he knew was that he couldn't keep living in limbo. The confrontation came on a Tuesday evening. Sebastian was at a friend's house. Isabella was in the kitchen. Nathaniel walked in and placed the DNA results on the counter. "We need to talk." Isabella looked at the paper. Her face went pale. "Where did you get this?" "My father. He left it for me." Silence. Isabella's hands gripped the edge of the counter. "Nathaniel, don't lie to me. Just tell me the truth." She closed her eyes, and finally she spoke. It happened in 2013, the year they got married. Nathaniel had been working constantly. Isabella felt neglected, alone. She reconnected with an ex-boyfriend, someone from college. "It was a mistake," she whispered. "I ended it after 2 months. I never spoke to him again." "And when you got pregnant?" She looked at the floor. "I didn't know for sure. The timing was close. I told myself it had to be yours." "But you didn't check." "I was terrified." Nathaniel felt his chest tighten. "So you let me raise another man's child for 12 years. Isabella was sobbing now. "Sebastian loves you. You're his father in every way that matters. Every way, except the one that counts." He regretted the words immediately, but he couldn't take them back. Nathaniel left that night. He checked into a hotel, sat in the darkness, and tried to make sense of his life. 12 years. Every birthday, every school play, every bedtime story, every scraped knee, all of it built on a lie. He wanted to hate Isabella, but another part understood the fear, the desperation, the way a mistake could snowball into something too big to confess. It didn't excuse what she had done, but it made her human, and hating her wouldn't undo the past. The hardest part was Sebastian. Nathaniel couldn't bring himself to see him. Every time he thought about that boy, the pain was unbearable. Sebastian called him 3 times the first day. "Dad, where are you? Dad, when are you coming home? Dad, did I do something wrong?" That last message broke him. Nathaniel called back immediately. "You didn't do anything wrong. I promise. I just need some time. But I love you." "Then why did you leave?" "Because sometimes adults need space. But I'm coming back." "Okay." Sebastian's voice was small. "I love you, Dad. I love you too, son." And in that moment, Nathaniel realized the DNA didn't matter. He went home 4 days later, not because he had forgiven Isabella. He hadn't, but because Sebastian needed him. And being a father meant showing up even when it hurt. They sat down and talked. "I'm not ready to pretend everything is fine," Nathaniel told Isabella, "but I'm not ready to walk away either." She nodded, tears in her eyes. "Whatever it takes." And so began the long process of rebuilding. Therapy helped. Slowly, over months, they untangled the mess of lies and broken trust. Nathaniel learned to separate his anger at Isabella from his love for Sebastian. Isabella learned to take responsibility, and Sebastian learned that his family, however imperfect, was still his family. Nathaniel never told him about the DNA test. Maybe he would someday, when Sebastian was older. But for now, all Sebastian needed to know was that his father loved him, because that was the only truth that mattered. Nathaniel's father had been right. Being a father is not about blood, it's about showing up. Thomas Brooks had carried the secret to protect his son. He had watched Nathaniel love a boy who wasn't biologically his, and had seen something beautiful in that love. That boy is special. Don't ever take him for granted. Now Nathaniel understood what his father had really meant. Sebastian was special, not because of whose DNA he carried, but because of the bond they had built together. No test could measure that. No result could erase it. 5 years later, Sebastian turned 17. He was taller than Nathaniel now, smarter, on his way to becoming a remarkable young man. They still played catch in the backyard sometimes, still had Sunday dinners. One evening, Sebastian asked a question. "Dad, do you ever regret having me?" Nathaniel froze. "Why would you ask that?" Sebastian shrugged. "Sometimes I wonder if I was what you expected." Nathaniel put down his coffee. "Sebastian, you were more than I ever expected. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. Nothing could ever make me regret being your father." Sebastian smiled. "Thanks, Dad." And Nathaniel meant every word. The funeral where it all began felt like a lifetime ago. His father was gone. His marriage had nearly collapsed. His understanding of family had been shattered and rebuilt. But standing in his backyard, watching his son throw a baseball into the evening sky, Nathaniel felt peace. Not because the past had been erased, but because he had chosen to keep going anyway. He had chosen Sebastian, chosen to be his father, chosen love over biology, and that choice had made all the difference. Epilogue: What the Dead Leave Behind. On the 1-year anniversary of Thomas's death, Nathaniel visited the grave alone. He brought flowers, he brought silence, and he brought words he had been carrying for 12 months. "I was angry at you," he said quietly, standing over the headstone. "For a long time, I was angry. You knew for 2 years. You watched me live a lie and said nothing. The wind rustled through the trees. No answer came. But I think I understand now. You were protecting me, protecting Sebastian. You knew the truth would destroy something, and you wanted to give me as much time as possible before the destruction came." He knelt down and touched the cold stone. "I forgive you, Dad, and I want you to know I kept my family together. Sebastian is doing great. He's happy. He still calls me Dad. He always will." Nathaniel paused. "You told me that being a father is about showing up. I showed up every single day since I found out. I showed up, and I'm going to keep showing up until the day I die." He stood, brushed the dirt from his knees. "Thank you for loving me enough to carry that burden. Thank you for loving Sebastian enough to let me keep being his father. I hope wherever you are, you can see what we've built." He walked away from the grave with something he hadn't felt in a year. Closure, not the kind that erases pain, the kind that lets you carry it without breaking. Isabella never fully regained Nathaniel's trust. They stayed married. They raised Sebastian together. They built something that resembled a normal life. But there were walls now, invisible barriers that hadn't existed before. Moments when Nathaniel would look at her and remember what she had hidden for 12 years. She accepted it. "I don't deserve your full trust," she told him once. "I know that, but I'm grateful you stayed. Grateful you gave Sebastian a father." "I didn't stay for you," Nathaniel said honestly. "I stayed for him," Isabella nodded. "I know, and that's enough." It wasn't a fairy tale ending. It wasn't complete healing, but it was real. And sometimes, real is the best you can hope for. Some marriages survive betrayal. They just survive differently than before. When Sebastian turned 18, Nathaniel gave him a letter. Not the letter Thomas had written. That stayed locked away. A relic of pain that didn't need to be passed down. This was a new letter, one Nathaniel had written himself. "Dear Sebastian, today you become a man. And there's something I want you to understand. Being your father has been the greatest honor of my life. Watching you grow has given me more joy than I ever thought possible. There may come a time when you learn things about our family that confuse you. When that time comes, remember this. Family is not defined by blood. It's defined by choice, by showing up, by loving someone even when it's hard. I chose you. Every single day, I chose you. And I would make that choice again without hesitation. You are my son. Not because of genetics, but because of every moment we've shared. I love you more than words can say." Dad Sebastian read it in silence. I don't understand everything in this letter, he said, but I feel like someday I will. Someday, when you're ready. Sebastian folded the letter and put it in his pocket. Whatever it is, it doesn't change anything. You're my dad. They embraced. And Nathaniel finally let go of the weight he had carried for years. Thomas Brooks never saw how the story ended, but Nathaniel liked to think his father knew. Somewhere, the man who had carried a terrible secret was watching, and he was proud. Proud that Nathaniel had chosen love over bitterness. Proud that Sebastian had grown up secure and loved. Proud that the truth, as painful as it was, had ultimately set them free. Being a father is not about blood. It's about showing up. Thomas had written those words. Nathaniel had lived them. And that was the greatest tribute a son could ever give.